Hey everyone, and welcome back to the DWF. It's your host, Dan WrestleFan, here with an episode of Dan Wrestle Files. Whatever we're going to call the Mount Rushmores. Wrestle Files? Is that good? DWF, Dan Wrestle Files? I don't know. We're going with that for now. And today, we are going to look at factions. We are going to look at only current factions, and we are going to be looking at 5+ member factions. So we are going to rank current, when I say current, I mean within the past year. So factions that are no more than a year old, they had to have been a faction within the last year. That's what I'm trying to say. So I can't put DX in here, I can't use Nexus, any of the NWO, any of the factions that would probably make my Mount Rushmore. Well, I'm not saying that those all would make my Mount Rushmore, but factions that are outside of a year old, if they haven't been a group within a year, they don't count. So, with that being said, that's kind of the rules and the parameters. So, let's get into it. Here we go. Rounding out my list at number 4, it's the LWO. I'm sorry, I should introduce the members. It's Joaquin Wilde, Santos Escobar, Cruz del Toro, Rey Mysterio, Andrade, and Zelina Vega. I guess Santos Escobar is no longer in the group, and Andrade is in, and I don't really know where Rey stands anymore. Is he still around? Whatever. I mean, these have all been prominent members in the group within the last year, and I think this is a really good group because you have so much talent in all of your characters. It's kind of, in my eyes, it's what the Imperium is. They just don't use Imperium to their full potential, where I think LWO is used better. And maybe because there are more members, so there's more people to try and highlight, but you already have established stars like Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. Maybe Zelina's not really an established star. I use that term loosely, I suppose. But you have an established star in Rey Mysterio, who's kind of like the godfather of the group to give guidance to the younger wrestlers. Oh, that's my daughter Lily chiming in. She's helping me with this video today. And, this is I thought a really good group, really good faction. I know that the whole split now, so Santos Escobar is no longer in the group, but I just think this was a great faction within the last year, and I love all the members that consist of this faction and make this group. I like everyone up here. I think this is just a really fun group, and I'm very excited to see what happens with them in the future going forward, and where all these characters end up. Who's going to get the Hall of Fame careers like Rey Mysterio? I think that's our thoughts on it. So, enough said, we'll move on to number 3. My number 3 is Damage Control. My number 3 and my number 2 could easily swap, depending on the day, depending on the match, depending on how they're using them. But Damage Control, I think, has just been a phenomenal group, and it's sad to see them go, but they've also had, I think, just enough time. I don't know if I'm on board with a Bayley face turn. I think she's an amazing heel, but I also understand that, it's time to break the group up, move them on. They have Kairi Sane, Asuka, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai has been injured for most of their existence, it seems. At least the back half, she's been injured. So that was kind of a shame, and maybe that's part of the reason to bring in Asuka and Kairi Sane and kind of break the group up a little bit, was because of her injuries. But I just thought this was an amazing group. I think was at SummerSlam 2 years ago when Bayley first brought the group together. I was so excited. I was so excited for Bayley, Io, and Dakota. I think that was back when she was Io Sky. I forget, what was her name before that? I forget. Anyway, Io Shirai was her name, and now she's Io Sky. I think is what I don't remember anymore. But anyway, I really like this group. I think this is a great group. Again, you have established veterans in Bayley and Asuka. And then you have Kairi Sane, who's not... I don't want to say Kairi Sane's... Like, she and Dakota Kai aren't, like, young bucks, kind of the way that, like, maybe Io is. You know, one of the more younger members. But they're not... You know, they don't have the prodigy that Bayley and Asuka have earned and obtained. So they're not quite there. So I think you have your two kind of like, Rey is the standout leader, or not leader, but the standout knowledge, like book of knowledge in his group, right? So, and I think Asuka and Bayley both kind of have that same role as far as being like the veteran presence of the group. That's the word I'm looking for, veteran. Thank you, me and my slow brain. The veteran presence there. So again, a really good group, really like them. But let's move on to my number 2 that could easily be a number 3 if I ever wanted to switch them out. Number 2 on the Mount Rushmore is the Bloodline, right? I mean, how can Bloodline not be on here? Especially with everything they've had in the last year. I mean, since last Mania to this Mania, it has been ups and downs, hills and valleys, all kinds of stuff for the Bloodline. So it's, I mean, there really shouldn't be any question why the Bloodline's on here. This is so obvious, right? I think they could, depending on the day and the match and who's doing what, who's fighting who, what members of the Bloodline are left. I think they could be replaced by Damage Control, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, since Jay left, I haven't cared as much about the Bloodline, but hey, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. So I'm still on, you guys like what I did there? I'm still on Paul Heyman's, on the bandwagon with Paul Heyman, man. I think he is one of the best storytellers in WWE. So I think this is just, it's a no-brainer. How could the Bloodline not be on the list when we're talking 5+ member factions? We're talking people who've had a real impact in WWE within the last year. You gotta have the Bloodline on here. I don't need to, you guys know it. I don't even need to say anything. I don't need to hype these guys up. You know it. Anyway, the members are Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman. And my daughter agrees. They've got to be on here, right? So let's go ahead. If this is number 2, let's see who number 1 is. Okay. If you guys didn't see this one coming, you must be new to the channel. And if you are, now's the time to tell you, subscribe to the channel. I always like to give shout-outs to my subscribers. The newest subs always get a shout-out in my Saturday or Sunday, my weekend videos, which are my main line videos. Always give new shout-outs to the newest subscriber. We do giveaways here on the channel. We've given away 1 action figure so far, but I would like to really soon, maybe by summer, be able to do a second giveaway. As long as we can meet some stretch goals that we have once we get to 1,000 subs. Hopefully we're going to be giving another wave figure here soon once we get to 1,000. So let's try and get there. The sooner we get there, the sooner I can start buying figures and build up that catalog for you guys to pick from. Right? Because that's probably the most fun, is seeing all the figures that I can find to be able to put into a catalog for you guys to pick from. Also, for 1,000 subs, we're going to go for something a little bit bigger. So I'm starting to look for like maybe some Ultimates and some Supreme Editions. So if you guys, the sooner we can get to 1,000 subscribers, the sooner you guys can tell your friends and family, like, hey, check this out. Even if you don't watch his videos, just give him a subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Although I would appreciate if you asked people who would actually be interested in my content. Please, and thank you. But anyway, guys, my number 1 pick is the Judgment Day. It has to be. It has to be. This has been the most dominant faction. I'm saying it. I'm putting the DWF guarantee on this. The most dominant faction in wrestling right now. They are more dominant than Bloodline, right? These guys come out. They have statement wins. Finn and Damian lost their titles once just to give Jay and Cody titles for a day. Big whoop, right? So it was, they really, whatever. And then, of course, you know, Mommy's got her title. She's had that since WrestleMania last year, I think. So she's got hers for a year. Finn and Damian had theirs, then lost them for a day, and now have them again. I put R-Truth in here. I don't have a JD McDonough. I think they made a basic JD McDonough. I just didn't get it. I don't really collect the basics too much, but now that basics are actually looking good again, I think I might start getting back on the basic wagon, collecting some of those basic figures. But I put R-Truth in here because his whole run with the Judgment Day has been hilarious. I love R-Truth. I think he's one of the most underrated talents in wrestling. And it's not even his wrestling talents underrated, which it is. He's a good wrestler, but just his wrestling comedy, he gets wrestling comedy. And people have tried wrestling comedy for a long time. Some people just are no good at it. R-Truth and The Miz are masters at wrestling comedy. It's a very unique skill set to have, but it's not an easy skill set to learn. I think it's teachable. I think it is. But, you know, the New Day and the Usos used to do their rap battles, and those just fell flat. Those were very weak. I did not like those. Supposed to be funny comedic moments, but I feel like they fell flat. And then R-Truth comes along and does, like, dance breaks that he used to do with Mella. It was so random. It was so random and so funny. Anyway, I love R-Truth. I can't say enough good things about him. One of my favorite wrestlers. You know what? I think R-Truth is in my top 10. As far as just overall, all-around wrestlers. Like being able to wrestle, having the mic skills, having the proper personality to be a wrestler. Everything that makes a great wrestler, I think R-Truth is in my top 10 as far as just overall wrestlers are concerned. If I go into like ring work and stuff like that, my top 10 changes. If I go into promo guys, my top 10 changes. So it really depends on what categories we're looking at. But just generic overall wrestling as a whole, R-Truth's probably in my top 10. But anyway, guys, there you have it. My Mount Rushmore of factions of 5+ members in today's wrestling within the last year. Here they are. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye!